This isn't your typical story of success and failure. I didn't fail a test or a class. I wasn't transported. I wasn't suspended. I didn't fail to achieve any of the goals that I had set for myself. Stanford, I screwed up on a much more fundamental level. My freshman year revolved around three things: hanging out with my amazing friends, learning about cool stuff in my classes, and overcoming my very crippling anxiety and depression. While I was overcoming my own personal issues, I looked at my friends and my peers and how they were succeeding at such cool things, and I developed this clear idea of what I thought a Stanford student was. In my mind, a Stanford student got amazing grades in ridiculously hard classes. They majored in something impressive and they did research. They volunteered and they were involved in communities on campus. They had friends, they worked out, they partied and had fun on the weekends. And more than that, they weren't just excited about what they were doing, but they were excited about life. So everything that I didn't think that I was, and everything that I thought my depression kept me from doing every day. When I came back sophomore year, I was determined to overcome the failures of before. I was determined to replace the anxiety and depression in my life with becoming a badass Stanford student. And I was going to become who I thought I should be. So within the first couple weeks of the quarter, I declared my major in engineering physics with a focus in electromechanical systems design, two fields that I am so passionate about. I got a part-time job doing research at the SLAC Linear Accelerator, and for the first time, I was involved in communities on campus. I rushed a sorority, shout out to my Chi Omega sisters. I volunteered with Camp Kesem and Seeds of Change, and I was meeting new people and making new friends every day. And I was going out and partying and having fun on the weekends. And on top of all this, I maintained pretty stellar grades in the 4 physics classes I was enrolled in. So I had not only become what many of you would consider successful, but I had become what I thought a Stanford student was, and I had become who I thought I should have been since the beginning of my freshman year. And I wish the story ended there, but then I wouldn't be standing up here talking to all of you. I assumed that my sophomore year would revolve around 3 things the same way my freshman year did: having a great time with my friends, learning about cool stuff in my classes, and being the badass Stanford student that I now was. I am extra, I will not apologize. In reality, my life was a much more fragile and hectic balance of my academics, my extracurriculars, my volunteer opportunities, my part-time job, hanging out with my friends, flaking on plans with friends, going to tutoring for my classes, and trying to maintain my own emotional and physical health. And let me tell you, that got very overwhelming very, very quickly. But I went through the quarter with this attitude that, next week is going to be better. Next week, I am going to have time to hang out with my friends. Next week, I'm going to finally understand what's happening in my classes. Next week will be less stressful. And I kept telling myself that for 7 weeks. And let me tell you, none of those weeks got any less stressful. If anything, they got a hell of a lot worse. Now, while I was busy balancing the shit show that had quickly become my life, I had the sinking feeling that I was probably missing out on some pretty important experiences. But, I figured it's week 7, and that means big game week. I'm going to go to gaieties with my friends, I'm going to party with them afterwards, and I'm going to go to big game, and I am going to have fun. I'm going to make up for some of the experiences I have missed. I can do it all. I am a Stanford student, and doing it all is part of the job description. So Friday night, I go to gaieties with my friends, and I have an amazing time. I'm going with them afterwards to party when I get a call from someone in one of my PSEC groups. Hey Taryn, you know that project that counts for a pretty big portion of our grade? Well, the prof moved up the due date to tomorrow during big game. He's not giving any extensions, and if we do not start working right now, there's no way we're going to finish. I felt my entire night just come crumbling down around me. I caught up with my friends and told them what was up, and they said, we understand, go and do what you have to do. But as I was leaving, I couldn't help but wonder, when was the last time I had hung out with some of my closest friends? And more than that, when was the last time that I hadn't been this stressed out? So I get to where people are working on the projects and the piece sets, and they ordered Thai food, they're playing music, everyone's laughing and having a good time, and I figure, this is not the night I wanted to have, but I can vibe with this. I'm still gonna have fun. My fun's just gonna involve a hell of a lot more physics than I would have originally preferred. So I go over to where my PSET group is sitting, and they're all talking and excited and saying, wow, and this is really, really hard, but it's so fulfilling to learn about it. And can you believe that we're learning about string theory as undergrads? String theory? When the hell did we start talking about string theory? We've been talking about the last couple weeks in class. You were sitting right next to me when the prof was mentioning it. That's what that was? I didn't understand any of that. I haven't understood anything that's happened in this class for the past 5 weeks. Which kind of got me thinking, and I slowly came to the realization that despite the countless hours I sank into tutoring every week, and despite the really great grades listed under my name on Gradescope and Canvas, I was not learning anything in any of my classes. And that is a very scary realization. So while everyone around me is having an amazing time in their experiences of intellectual vitality, I am sitting there silently having a panic attack because I'm realizing that in the process of becoming my idealized version of a Stanford student, I was failing at the 2 things that were most important to me from the beginning: making connections with friends that I care about and learning about things that excite me in my classes. So later, most everyone's left, and I am still working. A few friends from my physics classes come up and ask me, hey, how are you doing? How am I doing? The last time someone asked me that question, and I answered it honestly, I was told, but you have your shit more together than anyone else I know. You have no reason to feel like this. You shouldn't feel like a failure. But I did. So when my friends asked me a second time, I said, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you, just let me keep working on this. I have to keep working on this, please go away. And they asked me a third time, no, really, how are you doing? And I broke down and I told them everything that had been going on. They didn't just listen to me, but they validated how I felt despite my fears that they wouldn't. Those friends supported me not just that night, but for countless nights afterwards, as I reevaluated what was important to me, and they supported and encouraged me when I took actions to prioritize those things that I care about the most. I ended my fall quarter in a very different way than I began it. Instead of sitting in a dark room by myself, stressing out and frantically working on PSETs and job applications and work, I was sitting in the floor of my dorm room with my friends, eating snacks, listening to music, singing Disney songs, making very inappropriate jokes, and vowing that, we might not look so great on Canvas and Gradescope, but damn it, we are going to have more fun than everybody else we know combined. So today, I'm not your ideal Stanford student. I don't get amazing grades in super hard classes, but I love what I am studying, and I am excited to go to class every day. Thank you. Oh, I'm not done yet. I really am not. I'm not involved in every extracurricular and volunteer and research opportunity that I want to be, but those few things that I prioritize excite me, and I am proud of the effort I put into them. Don't get me wrong, I still have really hard days, but I've learned how to ask for help and talk about it, and how to give myself a break. And finally, for the first time, I'm putting time into the relationships to cultivate the relationships I have with other people and my friends. And not just that, but I'm putting time into cultivating a better relationship with myself. So, I am not the Stanford student that my freshman self dreamed of becoming, but I hope that I'm one that she could be proud of. Thank you.